Check 1, 2.
Hey, everyone. Out of the blue referral. Jonathan, you're muted.
Yeah, it looks like we're well short of a quorum yet. So I guess we're gonna have to be a little patient.
There anybody in the room with you, Will?
There are 6 of us in the room.
There are 6 people in the room, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 online. So we have a quorum, I think 13, right?
That works. We'll give it one more minute and then we'll jump in.
I got a new camera. It's got much better resolution. I hate it. I want to go back to a 2-megapixel camera.
Get a piece of cheesecloth to put over the lens.
You know what? Something that.
So, Senator Needleman, aren't you the chair of the Energy and Technology Committee?
Yes, I'm. This is my work office, but I am going to require that all cameras for anybody over 60 or 70 has to be old cameras.
We're going back to analog.
It's a mandate, right?
Senator Tim Ackert here. I agree with that.
Tim, you have the right angle. It's coming down on you. It's the perfect angle.
Very flattering.
Yeah, not so much. I thought I could maybe make it go further out, but it's not working.
All right, so why don't we get started? We hereby call into action the Energy and Technology Committee on May 2nd, 2023 to consider one reference bill from the Environment Committee, House Bill 6810, an act concerning minor revisions to the state's authority to regulate certain nuclear materials. This bill is the culmination of many years of effort on DEEP's part, working in collaboration with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC, to qualify as the 41st agreement state, which would put Connecticut in charge of its own radioactive materials from a variety of sources, whether they're from the power plant, academic or healthcare facilities. And DEEP has been gearing up for this for some time. It will actually result in a revenue increase of about $1.3 million, which will also, I think, fund their people they need to enforce it. As I said, this is would be the 41st state, so this is hardly groundbreaking on our part. And apparently we worked very collaboratively with the Yukon Health Center, the Ag Station, DOT, DPH, and DEEP. And they're all basically on board with this. This passed out of the Environment Committee unanimously, I believe. There was no testimony against it. I will ask if Representative Greshko, as House Chair of the Environment Committee, would like to add anything.
I will make the motion to accept, to start the ball rolling there. So moved.
And I will second if no one else will.
Yeah, no, I'll second it also. So
Okay, fine. You got that, Will? All right, good.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to add, Representative Greshko?
there was no negative testimony in our public hearing. As you said, it came out unanimous. This does not have anything to do with millstone. It's just the secondary type of byproduct materials. They're going to go in and check the X-ray machine in your dentist office kind of work, and they would be collecting the fees that would otherwise be collected by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. It's not a double dip. Instead of the NRC getting them, DEEP will get them, and thus the revenue generator for the agency that will hopefully go toward additional personnel for a variety of separate departments in DEEP. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification, Representative. Senator Needleman.
Yeah, so I agree with the Representative Gresco, and thank you, Mr. Chair. After talking to the folks at DEEP, this is something that has been a long time coming. I think it's narrow in scope, and I don't think there's any surprises in here. I think it's a federal request to change the chain of command and chain of responsibility. We're most likely more able at the state level to oversee this than at the federal level. And I think it's a good move. Like I said, we're not state number 1, we're state number 41. There's a high likelihood that this bill, along with the Nuclear Advisory Council, along with the technical fixes to the expansion of nuclear energy bill that we passed a year or two ago, they'll all be rolled into one, and there's a reasonable likelihood that they'll all be in SB7 as minor technical fixes. So
It's everything that's not nailed down in this universe. And I should make
we're going
clear
to do the
this is,
budget in SB7. I just decided that's.
so this is a JF to the floor. Its ultimate disposition is to be determined, but I want to make it clear this is a JF to the floor as of this juncture. Representative Buckby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess my only question I had was, it shows that any possible revenue gain to have would just be back to the general fund. And I know that Representative Gresco just mentioned reallocation of some of those funds that they would be within DEEP. Just curious if we've had any discussion with them on that, with DEEP, on if the funds would be better allocated, if we could draft that up from the start, if there'd be a better allocation of those funds and back to the general, just general fund. Just a question for whomever would like to approach that.
Rumi, Representative Greshko, you'd like to address that?
I'll take that. This would, unless otherwise specified by the language between the NRC and the state of Connecticut in the agreement state language, then we would go the normal route of whatever fees are collected by any individual agency goes first to the general fund and then is reallocated appropriately. So I think DEEP has been getting some of the fees that they have been charging in other separate departments within the agency. That has come back to the agency, and I wouldn't think that this would be any different, but the alternative is to actually put it in the agreement state language.
Does that answer your question, Representative Buckby?
It does. I just didn't know if that's something we should be considering before we draft the language on it, that we might be able to more than suggest allocation of those funds back to DEEP as opposed to, you know, I'm just trying to look at what I've seen on this from last night to today and trying to get an understanding of it. That's the only question I really had, was the allocation of funds from it, because it's pretty ambiguous as to what it's going to be, what the funding could possibly be. So, I mean,
there are a lot of vagaries for how we deal with money going in and out of the general fund. I think to me, the most salient point is that it is not going to have a fiscal impact, because the revenues will fund whatever enforcement requirements that DEEP will have themselves. So there's no hit on the budget. But to your point, I think it's a conversation we can have. Perhaps Senator Needleman also wants to comment on this point.
Yeah, I actually like the idea, Representative Buckby. I think that we should have the conversation with Deep to see if they need assurances in our bill that direct the funds for enforcement, because the last thing we want is to have all these fees collected and then, you know, chintz on the enforcement side. This is serious stuff. We need to actually have the people to regulate it, and we should make sure that they're funded. And that funding is not really subject, you know, to being diverted in any way. So I like the idea, and it's worthy of a conversation with the folks at Deep.
So
I appreciate
let's get this bill out of committee, and then we promise you that conversation will take place to make sure that we are both adhering to the rules of moving revenues around, and yet also assuring that Deep has the requisite FTEs to do enforcement, which we know with Deep can often be a challenge. So any other comments and questions? Yes, Senator Marr.
Sorry. Looking at the fiscal note, it says revenue gain, but no characterization of what that might look like. So as we're talking about making sure that the funds go to Deep, do we have any sense of what type of revenue is being discussed?
The estimate was 1.3 million, give or take, I imagine, but that's based upon all the prep work they put to this point and experience of other states. So I think that's a fairly reliable number.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Ackert.
Thank you. And just a segue off of the good senator's question she just asked. So that's a lot of money. It's not, you know, on the revenue gain, and it's great to see a revenue gain. Who's paying these fees in, or is it fines? What is it that is actually being paid? Because I'm reading civil penalties. So that is kind of, if Representative Greshko like that, where's this income? Where and who is this income coming from?
My understanding is I think there are 21 entities that currently pay this money to the NRC instead of to us. Is that correct? Through you, Representative Greshko. Representative Greshko? It looks like he's a little frozen. You nonplussed him a little bit. But in my reading, there were apparently 21 entities within the state that would pay these funds to the NRC, which will now pay them to Deep instead. So basically, we're keeping it in-house versus giving it to the feds.
Okay. Yeah, so these companies and or entities pay a fee because they have a product, a radiation product, that they have to have maybe licensing or something around that guy, and they already pay this, but they pay it to the federal side. Now we're taking it in-house and we're regulating this, it looks like, through this language, and then collecting the fees to administer that regulation, it seems to me. Does that sound pretty close?
That's an excellent summary, Representative Ackert. That's been represented to us by Deep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other comments or questions before we vote?
Rep. Steinberg, Rep. Gresko just came back online. Maybe he's unfrozen.
My computer
Gresko,
just.
I don't know if you heard the question that came from Representative Ackert about where the fees are coming from. I represented that rather than going to the NRC, they would stay in state, but perhaps you can amplify a little bit as to the entities that currently pay these fees.
No, that would be that's correct. The fees would be given to the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection in lieu of the NRC. What's generating this is that the NRC only getting around to your local doctor's office to check the equipment once every 3-4 years. This would bump up that investigation and checking to see if the equipment is working correctly on a more regular basis. And that fee, that service fee, would be going to DEP. Now, if in that service, the DEP identifies that this piece of machinery is malfunctioning or is not operating properly, or worse, it has a potential, leak of radiation, then they would have to impound the piece of equipment, and that's where the the penalties would come into effect, but that's only after discovering that the piece of machinery was not up to snuff.
Thank you, Representative. And you raise a very important point we really haven't emphasized, that this, in theory, will improve safety with these extremely dangerous materials and will be an advantage for us to maintain compliance of good working order of wherever these products are in the state of Connecticut. Representative Ackert for the second time, followed by Representative Buckby for the second time.
Thank you so much for the second time, and thank you, Representative Jesko, for that. So these are already costs or fees being paid out at this given time. Additional investigations may generate more of these fees, is what you're looking at, but a better quality of services if there's not a problem with this equipment. Is that essentially where we're going? Okay.
Who are you, Representative Greshko?
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Greshko.
We're going to put you in charge, Representative Ackert, of all summaries because you seem to get them so well. Representative Buckby.
He's a summary machine, like he's a third base coaching machine. So
I knew that was going to come up later. Okay.
it had to. It had to. No, the only thing that question on this, you said there's 40 something other states who've already done this. So, and I'm not opposed to this by any means. I think it's a good idea for us, but the Nuclear Regulatory Commission handing over that much revenue is a question mark for me. Is if that's $1 million, 1.2 in this state that they'll be handing back over and not collecting seems a little odd. But they just don't want to do the job anymore.
I'll hand it over to Representative Greshko, but the fact is, to be an agreement state, we'd be the 41st. This has been a trend going on for many years, in which the NRC is not only comfortable, they are actually encouraging states to do the requisite steps to qualify as an agreement state, because it is something that apparently might best be handled locally from an enforcement point of view. Representative Greshko, would you like to add anything?
Only that the last time I checked, the nearest Nuclear Regulatory Commission office to Connecticut was in Pennsylvania. So their regular visits were very regular. So this would in turn, as much as the NRC not getting the fees for service, they are saving money by not having to install personnel to go out to all of these states and do that work. So basically, we are very qualified subcontractors.
Well, I think we all want to stay regular, so it's important that we do that. Any other questions or comments before we take it to a vote? If not, Mr. Clerk, we are ready for a vote.
Roll call vote on substitute for HB number 6810, file number 538, an act concerning minor revisions to the state's authority to regulate certain nuclear materials. Senator Needleman.
Senator Needleman votes yes.
Sorry, I should clarify as well. The action is JF to the floor.
Thank you. Well, Senator Needleman still votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Steinberg.
Representative Steinberg votes yes.
Senator McCrory. Senator McCrory. Rep Foster.
Rep Foster votes yes.
Senator Fazio.
Fazio votes yes.
Representative Buckby.
Representative Buckby votes yes.
Representative Ackert.
Representative Ackert votes yes.
Representative Ali Brennan.
Representative Ali Brennan votes yes.
Senator Cabrera. Senator Cabrera. Rep Cheeseman.
Representative Cheeseman votes yes.
Rep D'Amico.
Representative D'Amico votes yes.
Rep Ferraro. Rep Ferraro. Rep Gresco.
Representative Gresco votes yes.
Representative Horn. Representative Horn. Senator Marr,
Senator Marr votes yes.
Senator Maroney,
Senator Maroney votes yes.
Representative Meskers. Representative Meskers. Representative Mashinsky. Representative Mashinsky. Representative Piscopo.
Representative Piscopo votes yes.
Representative Tersiak.
No, thank you.
Votes will be held open until 2:30 p.m.
Jonathan, you were muted.
Thank you. I just wanted to go back to Representative Terziak. Was his vote recorded in the negative? I was not clear from what I heard.
It was cast in the negative.
All right, good. I just wanted to be clear on that point. All right, yes, and the votes will be held up to 2:30. Senator Needleman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for convening the meeting on short notice today. I do want to say one thing and acknowledge that our clerk, Will Simpson, has been admitted to law school. He'll be leaving in 2 weeks, and I wanted to thank him. This may be our last opportunity to thank him for his great work this session under what have been trying circumstances for him personally. And I just, my heart goes out to you, but my best wishes for your work in law school. Maybe you come back and set us all straight at some point because we could use it. And thank you for being such a great clerk for us. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Senator. And let me reiterate as well, Will, this has been a really interesting year. But I'm sure it's made you stronger and prepared you for the world of law school. If you're smart after you get your degree, you will not come back to the legislature. But that's just my suggestion. But it's really wonderful that you're on a great path, going to a great school, and we're all rooting for you and hope you have a very successful career in whatever comes after law school. And I want to make sure I afford opportunities for our ranking members who I did not give it a chance to comment when we open the meeting to add any comments they would choose at this point. Representative Buckby?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it would be apropos if I have to say that our clerk will do very well. So I'm very happy for him. I wish him all the best. Be sorry seeing him not in the office on the regular basis, but thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and I will see you all very soon, I'm sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We appreciate the pun. We hadn't had one all meeting and would not have been official without it. Senator Fazio.
I wish Will all the best, congratulate him on his admittance to law school, and we support you in all your future endeavors. No 1L is complete without going to law school accompanied by a Bill Buckby pun. So you get to bring that, and no other 1L will have that. So congratulations and good luck, Will.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Senator. And I just want to be clear, not only we wish you well, Will, the reason I did not afford our ranking members the opportunity to speak at the beginning of the meeting was I didn't want them bringing up the kickball game, and I succeeded in getting past that. So without further ado, we are recessed, and thank you for your patience, and we'll see you soon.
Hello, Representative.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
You
I was
only
in bonding, revenue and finance, busy
no.
as a beaver.
We only have one bill for you. It's a JF to the floor. It's House Bill 6810, file number 538. Title is an act concerning minor revisions to the state's authority to regulate certain nuclear materials. Again, action is JF to the floor.
Okay. And I assume the vote has been unanimous?
So far, Representative Tertiak voted is only no vote. Everyone else was unanimous. So it's
So
14 to 1.
you can record my vote in the affirmative.
All right. Thank you so much, Representative.
Thank you much. Take care. Bye.
Hi, Senator. Good, how are you? Good. Yeah, very. Senator Cabrera, are you there?
Yeah, 1 second.
Oh, no problem.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm well. What'd I miss?
Just one bill. This is, the action is JF to the floor. It's House Bill 6810, file number 538. The title is an act concerning minor revisions to the state's authority to regulate certain nuclear materials.
Okay, yep. Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Senator.
Thank you.